and I'm Jay.
And I'm Sean.
And I watched a movie.
Yep, this is a Jay special.
That's right, it's called The Map of Tiny, Pretty Things. It is on Amazon Prime, and I watched it alone to do you a favor.
You did?
I did.
Oh, thanks.
Yes. I thought I would spare you yet another young adult teenage romance type movie.
Okay, well, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
How many of those young adults were dying?
You know, I don't want to spoil it for you.
Okay.
It wasn't really a dying teen trope, though. It was actually a time loop trope. Surprise!
Oh, surprise that they mixed up the tropes.
Yes, that's right. So, last year we reviewed Palm Springs, which is on Hulu, but we in Canada watched it on Amazon Prime as well. And that is a comedy. I don't know if we would go so far as to call it a romantic comedy, but there's a boy and there's a girl and there's a little bit of romance.
A little bit.
Amid the comedy, which is also a time loop movie.
It is, that's true.
A movie I was shocked to be able to say I liked. Because I find that quite a few movies have attempted the Groundhog Day time loop thing. Oh, I'm stuck repeating the same day over and over. And so few movies get it right that I think I pretty much said no movies ever get it right. Perhaps the only other one I could think of that I liked was that weird Emily Blunt Tom Cruise
Edge
one.
of Tomorrow.
Thank you. Which is a very different, it's very sci-fi, like it's not a comedy or a romantic comedy at all. But it is a time loop movie.
It is.
And I do like it.
It's very good.
I have to say, I do like that one.
I enjoyed that one.
Okay. I'm glad we agree.
Yeah.
And then we both liked Palm Springs.
We did.
Surprisingly.
Also, yeah, well, it is surprising. Most of these movies only have the one gimmick.
Yeah.
And nothing new.
No.
And those two
And it
are
is
the
very hard
exceptions.
to top Bill Murray at the top of his game.
Oh, it killed it.
So,
yeah, that's, you can't really beat Bill Murray at his own game.
No. So Palm Springs did things a little differently. They had slightly different rules with a different bent, and I think it justified itself. It entertained me, and I liked it.
Yeah, it did.
So now I have to say almost all of these movies are trash because of Palm Springs. Thanks, Palm Springs. But actually, I didn't hate this movie. And I'm shocked to have to tell you that.
Yeah, well, I'm shocked to hear it.
Now, it is not great. It's not even going to top Palm Springs because it is in the YA category. So, you know, it suffers a little bit from that sort of subgenre. But it does feel fresh and unique because it has a very different perspective. And I don't just mean the relative youth of its stars. Although I have to say that Mark is the main protagonist. We meet him. And even though I had read the synopsis, so I did know that it was a time loop movie, but even at the beginning of the movie, I was like, this guy's having a killer day. And then I was like, oh, right, he's had this day a lot. That's why he's killing it. So it's not hitting you over the head with it. Perhaps I needed a hit over the head, I'm not too sure. But Mark is played by Kyle Allen. So you may remember him. He was in that other rom-com we watched. Actually, it wasn't com. It was it was rom-trage. It did have a death in it. All My Life. So that's the true story where...
Oh, the wedding.
Harry Shum Jr., yeah, the wedding, and exactly. So he plays the friend Kyle in that one.
Okay.
He will also be in the upcoming West Side Story, which was meant to have come out by now, the Steven Spielberg remake of the musical.
To come out last year.
He plays Jet, if that ever makes it to a wide release.
It'll come out eventually.
Eventually. I'm sure he's hoping sooner rather than later. He's a young guy trying to get his career off the ground, and a Spielberg movie would definitely be a big, you know, a big get for his resume, which is fairly short. But anyways, I was like, not too sure when I pressed play, and yet I liked this guy right off the bat. And I can't even say exactly why, but he's a watchable guy. And he's going about this day that he has gone about many times. We don't even know how many times, but he's got it perfected. So it's been a few. But on one particular day, he comes across a young woman named Margaret, who's also repeating this day. He's shocked, she's shocked, we're shocked. We didn't know there was someone else, and it clearly took him quite a long time to find her. But their paths cross when they're, doing those tiny little adjustments to other people's lives so that, somebody doesn't get whacked in the face by a beach ball, or one guy doesn't get a bird poop situation. So they run into each other that way.
Those are very small things, though. That would be taxing to have to do that every single day if that's your plan.
Yes, fair enough. So Margaret is played by Kathryn Newton. So you, Sean, do not know her from Big Little Lies, but other people will.
Okay.
You may know her from Blockers or Pokemon Detective Pikachu.
All right, I mean, I've seen both of those movies, but
sure you have.
I don't.
And you will get to know her, Sean, even better because she has been cast as Cassie Lang.
Oh, the new one.
The new daughter in the upcoming Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania.
Yeah, that's got to be disappointing for the former Cassie Lang.
Yeah.
Who they recast her just as she's about to become a superhero. That's hardly fair.
It's hardly fair, but them's the breaks.
Yeah.
So yeah, these two find each other out in this repeating endless day. And he kind of crushes on her. She's a little bit returning it, but a little bit standoffish. She's holding back. Doesn't really want him to know all of her information. Doesn't want to give out her deets. And he
that's a little bit of restraint is probably a good idea when you know this guy is repeating the same day.
Okay.
Don't give him all the information. He'll turn into a stalker real quick.
Oh, well, except if you don't give him the information, you're sort of forcing him to stalk you to figure you out.
Well, that's true too. You can't really win here, I guess.
There's no real winning. I mean, they've obviously been losing for quite some time, and his gig is it's pretty lonely actually to be the only person repeating the day over and over. The only person who knows that, understands that. And he, of course, like everyone caught in the time loop, is trying to escape the time loop.
Oh yeah, that's what you do. I mean,
yes.
That is, you're doing
that
all
is
these
what
crazy
you do.
things. You're saving people from bird poop, presumably.
Yes.
So maybe that's what gets you out of it.
Yes, well, that is why he draws every day a map of tiny, pretty things. And so she kind of gets onto the project with him of finding all these tiny moments of joy throughout their day, these perfect moments that they can sit and watch and enjoy. And he feels like there's got to be a pattern here or a key, some way to escape the time loop somewhere within all of these little things, if they can only find them all in their little town. But the twist on this story, which I really enjoyed, is that Margaret is not invested in escaping the time loop. And it's interesting because I never really considered that position before, that anyone would not want to escape it. So I think that's the reason to watch. What kind of person would want to stay in the time loop? Why would somebody want to stay in a time loop?
That's a mystery, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So I think more than that, I thought that Kyle Allen and Kathryn Newton had a really cute chemistry. They're both really good. They were a little bit, an odd couple like you and I. He's like laid back and easygoing, and she's kind of not. Yeah. So I thought they were fun to watch. It was a good match. Mark has a friend named Henry that he drops in on the daily, who's always trying to beat a video game and he can't. He's played by Jermaine Harris, who is a good little interjection, I guess, a little someone else to check in with. But of course, he's not in the time loop. So everything that you can find in this guy, he will have forgotten by tomorrow.
Yeah, which is good and bad.
Exactly. So I was surprised by this movie. I enjoyed it. I think the movie kind of keeps things simple. It doesn't try to do too much. So I think it succeeds in the small ambition that it sets for itself. It used the time loop basically as a backdrop for this, to investigate these characters and why they feel so differently about being in a time loop. Because they both have their reasons, and I think most time loop movies have explored the trying to escape it one, and so I thought this was a neat spin. A new kind of character to find in a time loop or time anomaly. I love that he got to use this pickup line like, "Oh, hello, are you currently experiencing a time anomaly?" And they're shocked that they both are.
Yeah.
I mean, when does that ever come up?
It's a long shot.
Yeah, yes, it is. So, I mean, they have some fun together, as you would. The first few days of a time loop are always fun, right?
Sure.
And the first few days together, you really get to re-explore it.
Oh yeah, especially if you've both been in there and you have your own secrets that you can share.
That's right. But most of us have a ceiling. We have a limit that we will hit of wanting to repeat this day, especially because today is the day that Mark's dad has the talk with him. Not the birds and the bees, but the what are you doing with your future?
Oh yeah, that's
so
almost
he has
worse.
to end every day with that. It's not a lot of fun. But yeah, I thought director Ian Samuels did a good job, especially considering, I'm considering this his first film. He also did on Netflix, Sierra Burgess is a Loser, a movie I boycotted on ethical principles, and so I don't consider that anything. So this is only his second thing, and I thought, he's kind of good.
Okay.
And the writer, so Lev Grossman wrote the script based on his own short story. He also, look for him in the movie, he's the bird poop guy. Oh, yes.
Prime role that he gave himself.
I'm sure he had himself in mind when he wrote it too. He was like, oh, I could rock the heck out of that guy.
And did he?
Sure. He, as far as I can see, he wrote quite a few episodes for a TV show called The Magicians, which is about kids who go to magic school. I mean, that is a bit of a tired theme. So both of these guys are not super experienced in filmmaking, and yet I thought this was quite a watchable, a surprisingly non-annoying movie for a young adult time loop movie. I thought it was a pretty good watch.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a few qualifications in there, but overall.
Yeah, I mean, I would still say Palm Springs is by far my favorite, and Groundhog Day, of course, by far my favorite.
Yeah.
This is watchable, and I think, if you needed a little romance with a slight sci-fi twist, this might be a nice change of pace for you.
Okay.
And it's available on Amazon Prime, which is always a good thing to have something else on your streaming service worth checking out. Yeah, so in the end, I saved you from watching it, and it may not have been too much of a sacrifice.
Well, thanks for trying to do me a favor.
They always backfire. I'll find something else really upsetting for you to watch later.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, I know. Aren't you so lucky?
Yeah. Well, there's definitely going to be a few more young adult movies coming down the pipe.
Oh, there always are.
Yep.
Because there are always young adults. And we get to relive our youth. No, I have been feeling so old lately because
You're not old.
Young people seem so young to me.
Well, they're getting younger, I think.
Well,
No, I
you've
mean
been
that,
old
though.
for a while.
I know.
Sorry to tell you.
I know, but I do mean, they're
Because
going
when we
now.
were young people were played by 35-year-olds.
Yeah, that's
And now
right.
that I'm 35, I'm like, holy cow.
Yeah, but they're not played by 35-year-olds anymore.
No, exactly.
So, yeah, if they
It's
remake
because of the hormones in
90210 again.
cows, everyone's developed early.
Yeah, that's true. So they do feel like they can go.
Stop looking, Joe. Don't agree. You don't know, remember? That's the line.
Oh, yeah.
How would you even know?
How would I even know?
Oh,
Because
boy.
they're not 35 anymore. I know that.
They are not 35. Now a 16-year-old can play a 16-year-old because she's voluptuous for primetime television.
Yeah, and them guys have full beards at 13.
Oh boy.
Yep.
All right then, Sean. I will leave you to that. Anyways, Kyle Allen, Kathryn Newton on Amazon Prime in a movie whose title, this one's hard for me, The Map of Tiny Pretty Things.
Yeah, it's tough. Too many words.
Too many words. It's because it's too much like Big Little Lies and like Pretty Little Things or whatever.
Yeah.
There's too
Yeah,
many
those
like
words
that
could
right
go in a
now.
different order
And,
and,
you know.
I gotcha.
Anyways,
That's
The
what it
Map
is.
of Tiny Pretty Things. You will find that on Amazon Prime. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.